On November 30th, 2018, in Baltimore, Maryland, the Smith family, consisting of Julie, her father Roger, and her stepmother Diana, were out celebrating Andrew's belated 28th birthday at the American Legion Hall. They enjoyed a night of dining, drinking, dancing, and capturing memories in photographs. Little did they know, as they exited the Legion just before midnight, their evening would take a tragic turn. A few blocks from Andrea's home, Roger slowed the car to a stop and rolled down the passenger window. Diana wanted to offer assistance to a new mother on the street, holding a small bundle and a sign asking for help to feed her baby. Sadly, what started as a compassionate gesture would prove fatal for Diana Smith, as Roger later recounted. Both Roger and Valeria had a poignant message for Baltimore: be cautious whom you trust, as appearances can be deceiving. Hello, everyone. I'm Sam, and welcome to True Crime Documentary. Today's case delves into a web of lies and deceit, exploiting a city's reputation while its officials work tirelessly to uncover the truth. Let's delve into the documentary. Roger, age 52, made a frantic 911 call from his vehicle at 12:30 a.m. on December 1st, 2018. His wife, Lori, had been stabbed and urgently needed help. With Lori in the passenger seat and their daughter Valeria witnessing the horrifying attack from the back seat, Roger was directed to Johns Hopkins Hospital. Despite valiant efforts, Lori succumbed to her injuries, having sustained 5 stab wounds to her torso and a single cut to her lower right arm. Tragically, she was pronounced dead before 1 a.m. that night, a victim of an unprovoked attack by 2 panhandlers who stole from her before fleeing. Roger recounted the heartbreaking moment when he attempted to help the woman in need at the stop sign, only for tragedy to strike in a split second. The assailant, seemingly grateful at first, suddenly attacked Lori, leaving bloodshed and Roger's station in his wake. Valeria Ann Smith, born Laura Trevane in Providence, Rhode Island, had her life tragically cut short on that fateful night. Certainly, let's expand on the aftermath of the incident and the broader implications it had on the community. The untimely death of Lori Smith sent shockwaves through the city of Baltimore, sparking outrage and disbelief. Friends, family, and community members rallied together in support of the Smith family, offering condolences and assistance during their time of grief. As news of the senseless attack spread, it reignited conversations about safety and trust in urban areas. Many residents grappled with feelings of vulnerability and uncertainty, questioning how such a tragedy could occur in their own neighborhood. In response to the incident, local authorities launched a comprehensive investigation to apprehend the perpetrators and prevent similar crimes in the future. The case garnered widespread media attention, prompting discussions about the need for greater vigilance and community engagement in combating crime. Meanwhile, the Smith family faced the daunting task of navigating the legal system while mourning the loss of their beloved Lori. They became vocal advocates for justice and accountability, urging policymakers to address underlying issues such as homelessness, poverty, and mental health support. In the wake of tragedy, the city of Baltimore came together to honor Lori's memory and take meaningful action to ensure the safety and well-being of its residents. From memorial services to grassroots initiatives, the community rallied around the Smith family, demonstrating resilience and solidarity in the face of adversity. As the investigation unfolded and justice was sought for Lori's death, her legacy lived on as a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of compassion, empathy, and unity in building stronger, safer communities for all. On the 4th of July, 1964, Lori, according to her mother, was a spirited child who blossomed into a caring and affectionate adult. From a young age, she found solace and inspiration in music and poetry, sharing these passions with her loved ones. By the age of 54, Lori had nurtured 2 grown sons, one in college and the other serving in the U.S. Coast Guard. Professionally, she excelled as an electrical engineer, dedicating her talents to the Department of Defense in Maryland. In 2014, she married Roger, and together, they were active members of their church community. Known for her unwavering faith and boundless generosity, Lori left a profound impact on those around her. Tragically, Lori's life was cut short by senseless violence. The day after her murder, Her husband and stepdaughter bravely addressed the media, cautioning their neighbors against blindly trusting those who may feign desperation for nefarious purposes. Law enforcement echoed this sentiment, urging the residents of Baltimore to exercise caution when approached by individuals seeking assistance. The nature of Lori's attack instilled fear and uncertainty, particularly regarding the homeless population, both locally and nationally. Kelly herself, upon hearing of Lori's tragic death stemming from an act of kindness, expressed hesitation about similar gestures in the future. Authorities released descriptions of the suspects, believed to be panhandlers exploiting the goodwill of charitable individuals for robbery and possibly resorting to violence if necessary. Heightened awareness and vigilance became paramount as communities grappled with the unsettling reality that not all in need may have honest intentions. Lori's untimely death served as a stark reminder of the dangers lurking beneath seemingly benign interactions, prompting soul-searching and a reevaluation of trust in an uncertain world. In the wake of Lori's tragic passing, her memory continued to resonate deeply within her community and beyond. Friends, colleagues, and acquaintances fondly recalled her warmth, compassion, and infectious spirit. Tributes poured in, painting a vivid picture of a woman whose kindness knew no bounds and whose impact stretched far and wide. As the investigation into Lori's murder unfolded, the quest for justice intensified. Law enforcement agencies worked tirelessly to apprehend the perpetrators and bring them to account for their heinous actions. The community rallied behind the Smith family, offering support, solidarity, and a collective determination to seek closure. Lori's legacy transcended the confines of her own life, sparking conversations about empathy, compassion, and the importance of remaining vigilant in a world fraught with uncertainty. Her tragic death served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the need to cherish every moment with loved ones. In the aftermath of the incident, initiatives aimed at addressing homelessness, poverty, and mental health issues gained traction, fueled by Lori's unwavering spirit of generosity and concern for others. Community leaders, policymakers, and advocates came together to enact meaningful change, striving to create a safer, more compassionate society for all. Though Lori may no longer be with us in body, her legacy lives on in the countless lives she touched and the enduring impact of her selfless deeds. Her memory serves as a beacon of hope and inspiration, reminding us all of the transformative power of love, kindness, and empathy in the face of adversity. Homicide detectives immediately began their investigation into Lori's murder, meeting with Roger and Valeria at Johns Hopkins Hospital to gather initial statements. Rushing to secure the crime scene, 3 detectives arrived at the 1000 block of Valley Street within hours of the incident. Despite their efforts, they found no traces of the stabbing upon their initial search. The following morning, Detectives Borgard, Singer, and Santos returned to the scene in daylight to conduct a thorough canvass of the neighborhood. Despite combing the streets, speaking with residents, and searching the area, they found no significant evidence. The lack of witnesses, the absence of the murder weapon, and the isolated nature of the location presented formidable challenges to the investigation. It became apparent to the seasoned detectives that the 1000 block of Valley Street was an unlikely spot for panhandlers, being neither well-traveled nor densely populated. The majority of houses in the area were vacant, indicating minimal foot traffic or potential eyewitnesses. Meanwhile, Roger and Lori's vehicle, a 2012 Audi S7 driven by Roger on the night of the murder, underwent forensic examination at police headquarters. Latent prints recovered from the exterior matched Roger's, and no other prints of significance were found. Inside the vehicle, a pair of black gloves and a set of yellow rubber gloves were discovered, along with an acrylic fingernail matching those worn by Valeria. However, no unidentified DNA or fingerprints were found to aid in identifying the assailants. Despite the extensive efforts of law enforcement, including assistance from the FBI to extract GPS data from the Audi's computer, no substantial leads emerged. The Homeless Outreach Team, HOT, was also enlisted to assist, but their efforts yielded no suspects matching the descriptions provided by Roger and Valeria. As the investigation continued, Detectives remained determined to corroborate the details provided by the Smiths and pursue any leads that might bring Lori's perpetrators to justice. However, the elusive nature of the case left authorities grappling for answers in the face of tragedy. As the investigation into Lori's murder pressed on, the community's sense of unease deepened. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement, the lack of concrete leads cast a shadow of uncertainty over the case. Residents of Baltimore and beyond anxiously awaited developments, grappling with feelings of fear and frustration in the wake of such a senseless act of violence. In response to the heightened concerns, community leaders and advocacy groups mobilized to address the underlying issues contributing to homelessness and crime in the area. Collaborative efforts were launched to bolster support for vulnerable populations and enhance public safety measures. From increased outreach initiatives to calls for improved social services, stakeholders across the city united in their determination to prevent further tragedies like Lori's untimely death. Meanwhile, the Smith family persevered in their quest for justice, buoyed by an outpouring of support from friends, neighbors, and strangers alike. Despite their grief, they remained steadfast in their resolve to honor Lori's memory and hold her perpetrators accountable for their actions. As the days turned into weeks and then months, the investigation into Lori's murder continued to unfold with painstaking diligence. Detectives sifted through mountains of evidence, conducted countless interviews, and pursued every possible lead in pursuit of the truth. Yet, despite their best efforts, elusive suspects remained at large, leaving the community on edge and demanding answers. In the face of adversity, the Smith family emerged as beacons of resilience and hope, channeling their pain into advocacy and action. Through their unwavering courage and determination, they inspired others to join them in the fight for justice and the pursuit of a safer, more compassionate society for all. As the investigation stretched on, the memory of Lori Smith served as a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the urgent need to address the root causes of violence and injustice in our communities. Though her light may have been extinguished far too soon, her legacy lived on in the hearts of those who loved her and the countless lives she touched with her kindness and compassion. If anyone knows anything or has any information, please come forward to help us uncover who harmed my stepmother. The inability to confirm the crime scene significantly impeded our investigation. To piece together the events of that evening, investigators initiated by gathering surveillance footage from various locations across the city to trace the Smiths' movements. Confirmation came from cameras at the American Legion Hall on Madison Avenue, showing the Smiths leaving together at 11:45 p.m. Subsequently, investigators meticulously reviewed footage from 27 CCTV cameras, spanning from the Legion to Valley Street near Andrea residence, aiming to retrace Roger's path, as corroborated by his daughter. However, their efforts to locate Roger's audio on the camera feeds yielded no results. Further scrutiny of motion-activated residential security cameras along East Chase Street and East Acre Street also proved fruitless in capturing the incident or Roger's vehicle. Turning to technological avenues, investigators sought to analyze cell phone data from both Roger and Andrea phones. While Roger's phone remained inactive throughout the evening until he placed the 911 call, Andrea's phone data revealed a significant discrepancy. Contrary to their initial statement, the family had not traveled south to drop Valeria home after leaving the American Legion. Instead, they headed north, with cell tower records indicating a stop at Druid Hill Park, near the Maryland Zoo for approximately 15 minutes, an undisclosed detail to the police. Expanding their investigation, police obtained activity logs from Lori's stolen device, revealing its last use at her Aberdeen home around 4:00 p.m. on the day of her murder. Despite reports that she had her phone with her that night, there's no evidence it ever left her house. In pursuit of other missing items, pawn shops were scoured across the city, but Lori's necklace, purse, and cell phone remained elusive. However, a week and a half later, her Visa card surfaced with suspicious activity. 3 teenage boys were apprehended after claiming to have found the card in a clutch left at a bus stop on Caroline Street and Madison Avenue. Although initially considered suspects, they were released when investigators confirmed the bus stop's location along the exact route taken by Roger and Valeria. Following these leads, investigators delved deeper into the circumstances surrounding Lori's murder. They intensified efforts to uncover any overlooked clues or connections that could shed light on the events leading up to that fateful night. Forensic experts meticulously combed through the crime scene, analyzing every detail for potential evidence. DNA samples, fingerprints, and other forensic data were collected and scrutinized in hopes of identifying the perpetrator. Meanwhile, detectives conducted extensive interviews with friends, family members, and associates of the victims, as well as anyone who might have had a motive or opportunity to commit the crime. They explored every lead, no matter how small, in their relentless pursuit of justice. Additionally, investigators collaborated with other law enforcement agencies and utilized advanced technology, such as forensic software and data analysis tools, to piece together the timeline of events and identify any discrepancies or inconsistencies. Despite the challenges and setbacks they faced, the investigative team remained determined to unravel the mystery surrounding Lori's murder and bring the perpetrator to justice. Their tireless efforts and unwavering dedication to the case served as a beacon of hope for the grieving family and the community at large. After departing from the Legion, the route traced by cell phone data and Google account tracking contradicted the path claimed by the Smiths to the police. Despite 3 months of thorough investigation, Baltimore detectives hadn't unearthed a single piece of evidence linking Jacquelyn's murder to the alleged panhandlers. Instead, what surfaced were inconsistencies and contradictions in the statements provided by the Smiths. Roger initially informed authorities at the hospital that a male panhandler had reached into the car and stolen his wife's purse. However, in subsequent statements, he shifted blame to a female panhandler. His narrative evolved further when confronted with location data. He admitted to visiting the park to review photos on their phones, a detail previously undisclosed. Initially vocal to the media, Roger's demeanor changed abruptly after the story gained national attention. He ceased interviews, and his story continued to morph. Claiming embarrassment, he alleged getting lost that night, a narrative shift from his earlier warnings about the city's homeless population. In a puzzling turn of events, Roger swiftly orchestrated his departure for Maryland. He secured a year-long lease in Florida, packed a rental truck, and vanished overnight, leaving investigators and the community bewildered. Valeria, too, left Maryland to join her father, prompting law enforcement to intensify their efforts to track the pair. Roger attempted to Roger surveillance by changing his phone number, provider, and even shipping a new phone to his daughter. Despite his efforts, law enforcement continued to monitor his activities. In a bid to flee the country, Roger tried to book flights to Canada and Cuba, but lacking a U.S. passport, his plans were thwarted. He then set his sights on the U.S. Virgin Islands, all while his internet searches hinted at plans to enter Mexico surreptitiously. As Roger and Valeria neared the Mexican border, a swift response from Texas law enforcement led to their arrest. The culmination of a meticulous investigation, their arrest signaled a pivotal moment in the pursuit of justice for Jacquelyn's murder. The arrest warrant shed light on the web of lies spun by Roger and Valeria throughout the investigation. It underscored their attempts to Roger's scrutiny and painted a damning picture of their involvement in Jacquelyn's murder. Furthermore, revelations from Roger's brother Vic suggested a sinister motive behind Jacquelyn's death. Roger's previous inquiries about eliminating his wife, coupled with his swift move to claim her life insurance, hinted at a premeditated plan to cash in on her demise. As the investigation unfolded, it became increasingly clear that Roger's actions were driven by greed and deception. His attempts to cover his tracks and flee the country underscored the lengths he would go to Roger accountability for his heinous crime. As the investigation deepened, law enforcement unraveled more layers of deception and betrayal surrounding Jacquelyn's murder. Interviews with acquaintances and associates of the Smith family unearthed a troubling history of marital discord and financial strain. Witnesses recounted instances of tension between Roger and Jacquelyn, painting a picture of a troubled marriage plagued by infidelity and mistrust. Friends revealed that Jacquelyn had confided in them about Roger's controlling behavior and his relentless pursuit of financial gain at any cost. Furthermore, financial records and forensic analysis of the Smiths' assets revealed a pattern of suspicious transactions and hidden assets, suggesting a concerted effort to conceal wealth and Roger financial obligations. Meanwhile, forensic experts meticulously analyzed the crime scene and gathered crucial evidence, including DNA samples and surveillance footage, to piece together the events leading up to Jacquelyn's murder. Their painstaking efforts shed light on the timeline of events and provided critical insights into the perpetrator's motives and modus operandi. As the case gained national attention, public outcry grew, and pressure mounted on law enforcement to apprehend the culprits and deliver justice for Jacquelyn and her family. Community members rallied together, offering support and assistance to the investigative team as they worked tirelessly to crack the case. In the midst of mounting evidence and public scrutiny, Roger and Andrea's arrest marked a significant breakthrough in the investigation. It was a testament to the perseverance and dedication of law enforcement personnel who refused to relent until the truth was brought to light. As the legal proceedings unfolded, prosecutors built a compelling case against Roger and Valeria, presenting a mountain of evidence linking them to Jacquelyn's murder. Witness testimony, forensic analysis, and electronic data painted a damning picture of their guilt, leaving little doubt in the minds of the jury. Ultimately, Roger and Valeria were convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. It was a bittersweet victory for Jacquelyn's loved ones, who found solace in knowing that justice had been served, but were left grappling with the irreparable loss of a beloved mother, wife, and friend. The resolution of Jacquelyn's case served as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked greed and the devastating consequences of betrayal and deceit. It also underscored the importance of community solidarity and the tireless efforts of law enforcement in seeking truth and accountability, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. The revelation that the Panhandler murder was a hoax came as no surprise to everyone, particularly Jacquelyn's mother, who had harbored doubts from the outset. In a candid interview with Shock News Media, she expressed her skepticism, stating she never believed Roger's story and sensed something amiss. Her intuition, honed over years of motherhood, refused to accept the narrative Roger presented to authorities and the public. The Trevane family, who maintained a distant relationship with Roger, remained uncertain about his criminal past. Despite the lack of closeness, it's unclear if they were aware of his troubled history, which included a string of armed robberies committed 2 decades prior. Roger's descent into crime stemmed from a series of unfortunate events, including job loss and a diagnosis of HIV, which left him struggling to make ends meet as a single father to his daughter, Valeria. Financial desperation led him to orchestrate a series of bank robberies, resulting in a lengthy prison sentence. Andrea's involvement in the cover-up of Jacquelyn's murder revealed a tragic tale of coercion and manipulation. Battling bipolar disorder and heroin addiction, she became ensnared in her father's web of deceit, coerced into assisting him in concealing the truth. During the trial, Valeria bravely testified against her father, recounting the harrowing events of that fateful night at Druid Hill Park. She detailed